Kwe. It's 12:31 p.m. still Labor Day, 2025. I had to refresh my memory. Add an extra 10 days on the date. Roll back the year to 2001. I thought I remembered it differently when I saw the camera angles and stuff on the television. I didn't think I was actually saying until I saw that damn plane hit. Wasn't the first one because when Good Morning America came online, came on the air, Diane Sawyer, Charlie Gibson. This was mentioned under Good Morning America, 911 tragedy. I was I had to steel myself for this. I had to steel myself for this because I was seeing what everybody else saw when we turned on the tube. And we saw the live feed from ABC Eyewitness, actually ABC in New York City. They had live footage from a traffic cam. It was a copter flying around the Trade Center. So it was I think it was the West building that was smoking. East wasn't even touched. I remember getting myself ready for work on that day. We were watching the television. We had both televisions. The house I was living in was in Reseda. If I can ask you to Google Map San Fernando Valley, and if you would hit an address for me, I'd like for you to hit 7416 Clare Avenue, Reseda, California. That was home for 12 years. There's a reason. In this particular place, and I damn near lost my sanity. In the back, on the northeast quadrant of the building, was Mama's office. At the end of it, we had an air conditioner and we also had the television. And then at the front, facing the southern area in the living room, we had the big television. We're both watching it. We're hearing it. I mean, we had both things just watching this thing. I was working. I was working over at Blue Cross California call center out in Woodland Hills Warner Center. And we're at the kitchen, right across from Mama's office. It's getting the dog taken care of, getting my breakfast already taken care of, and coffee. We're going to be leaving at about a little after 7, probably 7:30ish, to get over to the office before 8. I'd pick up more coffee over there for the day in the call center. And we're turning this thing on. We're watching it. Yeah, now we're seeing it. We're just, okay, well, look at that. Something flashed in front of us on the television. So quick that they had to do a replay. That's when everything was changing. That's when we became sick to our stomach. That's when I came sick to my stomach. And I just saw something that scared the hell out of us, numbed us. KNX and KFWB were 2 radio stations we had, and they hooked up into the live. We were hearing it. I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to go to work today or not. I was like, it was happening in New York. I mean, it's not happening out here, right? Right. From there, Dave and I just traveled our usual route of going to Tampa, head down Tampa, till we got to Victory Boulevard. We're listening, we're freaking, and then not quite sure what the hell to think about it or do about it, because it happened. So we went up Victory. We went west on Victory until we got over past Pierce. I mean, there was a few routes we could have taken. Headed down Canoga until we got to Aranda Center. Without all that stuff happening in it right now. I wasn't quite sure what the hell to think about the damn thing. They pulled in a parking lot, dropped me off, and I walked in. Security badge, getting everything else, and everyone's like, "What's?" Surprised looks on their faces. I get upstairs, and there was like several of them huddled around a small portable somebody actually brought from home. I thought it was going to be a full staff, but 10, maybe. We had our one supervisor on shift. Everybody else was going to be coming on their own schedule. And I'm watching this thing like everybody else. And then we saw the planes. We heard Pentagon. We're like, what? They were talking about country under attack. And then the buildings. With the continuing fire, and then bodies starting to drop down. And then we heard the airlines got grounded. Every plane, every aircraft, civilian, was grounded. Even LAPD, Los Angeles Fire Department, Sheriff's Department, news cameras. They were all ordered to be grounded. Aircraft, civilians were in the air, and they were stacked and packed, and they were rushing to airports to land, even the heavy duties. in the airports. Widen the shot into San Fernando Valley. I think I told you that we had two majors, but we also had a small one that was accommodating a lot of our helicopters. There's a small airport called Whiteman Airport on the northeastern side of things, and they handled the helicopters a great deal, besides Van Nuys, but they had to. It's a small airplane area. I think it was Whitman, I think. Whiteman Airport on Osborne. This is also in the flight path of everybody else. I mean, if small airplanes would be landing in this area, and helicopters. And this particular airport was just handling all of our smaller general aviation. On some occasions, when Dave and I were driving about in the San Fernando Valley, we drove past it a few times. I mean, we generally knew about the aviation because some of the newscopters would come out of there, or Van Nuys Airport, mostly out of Whitman. Whiteman, they called it. I called it Whitman, but it was Whiteman Airport. That got loaded for bear. Van Nuys Airport got loaded for bear. They were getting stacked and packed with some of the smaller aircraft, but the larger aircraft all flew when they were in the area to Hollywood Burbank, filled up the terminals and other areas. Everybody had to be grounded. And then what you saw was the military aircraft all over the damn place. We heard it on the news. We heard it on the news. But what scared me is when we were under the threat and seeing the Twin Towers collapse. It was affecting everybody to the point where I was panicking. I thought we were next. I thought we were next. I tried talking about this on the other videos. I think they got screwed over. I wanted to show you something about the San Fernando Valley and then Los Angeles. If you would head back on the Google Maps and head over to the west end of the San Fernando Valley, at least to Warner Center. This area is a high point. We get about 20 stories, 20 to 30 stories. Smaller airplane would be, well, smaller airplane would hit some of our buildings if they really wanted to be that kind of a lunatic, like they happen to be over at in New York. Freaked and scared the crap out of me that I sent out an email to the entire company. I had to be calmed down by an executive secretary. Our call center didn't operate. We were shut down, told to go home. Fine by me. I was having a conniption fit. I thought we were going to die. If you had looked at that dirt lot I showed you earlier about the building I was in, On Google Earth Pro, I can look at the entire complex being full of people and cars. And for a 20-story, roughly, we had more than that. Actually, maybe about one or two office buildings, about 30 to 40 stories. And they're kind of impressive. It wouldn't make an impressive target. But the thing is, what I wanted to show you about the San Fernando Valley here is when the aircraft come in for landing, major carriers, they would come on from a west to east corridor, passing over the mountains and hitting into the airport. Now, if you're the smaller aircraft, you'd be coming in from north to south over at either Whitman, or if you're a little bit of like an cargo or just industrial jet, you would hit the Van Nuys Airport and to the north to south. I thought a plane could turn around and hit us. I had been terrified for weeks on end. But I stayed at the job because that was meant, I had to stay at the job. Even when we had the 1994 earthquake that rattled us about 7 point, they dropped it down because they wanted to make sure that the insurance companies would be covering everything. Otherwise, the federal government would be broke. We had billions of dollars of damage in the Southern California areas. And for a long while, I was on shaky ground, literally inside and out. I hate earthquakes, and I'm a native. Not supposed to get used to these damn things, that's for damn sure. But man-made terror? I also wanted to show you one more thing if you're a terrorist. There was an area out in Griffith Park Observatory. If someone was going to watch this area and go from the observatory area and just hang out by the edges, you could see the skyline of different areas. Trying to get out of this damn thing here. I wanted to get out of the Griffith Park area and just look at another high-rise area, or just see something that would not freak me out as much. I was looking for there's Hollywood Freeway. And somewhere in the Hollywood Freeway area, there is the Hollywood Bowl. Across the ways would be the mountainside with an advantage to look over, because I placed a marker on where they had to cross. I wanted to see the cross out there. Right across the freeway from the Hollywood Bowl. I got a marker in that area. I'm just trying to get this thing working here so I can look at what I was supposed to be looking at. Because over the horizon, I would see the skyline of Los Angeles. If I had gone over to the Griffith Park Observatory, it would give me maybe a little bit better view, but not much. Bit distant. Some of the photography they had were showing a lot of moisture out there in the area. But over by the observatory, that's the place to go to. You would see part of Los Angeles. You would. And where I wanted to go to the observation areas. of it. Because there's overhangs that would show what this place looked like, and also what the... Let's see if I can get this damn thing working here. So I wanted to get that observation area. Pixelation on this thing sucks. But I wanted to get into an area where I can look at wait a second, here we go. Can I get an overview? Can I get an overview? Okay, and one of the wings, I was looking at the east wing of it. And I would see the big dome of the Griffith Park, but I turned the camera angles where I'm looking at the city of Los Angeles in the distance. It's a trick, but, you know, I got the street view of it. And I see in the distance, on a clear, well, somewhat of a smoggy sky, a little bit hazy, back in 2017. The picture was taken. And if I widen the shot, it's not as grandiose as New York City, but in the center area of Los Angeles. If we actually did have a low length, or if we actually had aircraft coming in, this would be the shot to see it. Because this would be the area I'm looking at and seeing just how bad it would be if aircraft actually came in and did damage. And if I happen to put it back on satellite view and just look, getting away from the observatory and just widening the shot, getting back into LA City proper. What I would see is businesses, homes, residents. But city of Los Angeles itself, it's proper. It's tall buildings. I would widen the shot, and I would get to see a few airports in the area, including one massive one, LAX. They take off into the ocean. But the flight angle that they would have coming into LAX, we only have east and west. And we have 2 runways. But there are smaller airports in the area too. Santa Monica's got one. Torrance has got another one. Not quite sure if Anaheim's got one, but they're pretty busy, smaller aviations. And what I was trying to say at this point is, if we actually had any aircraft coming in, it's usually coming from an east to west. With the mountain ranges, they had to be pretty damn good to get past certain areas. But if they wanted to hit Los Angeles, it takes a slight deviation in their aircraft to do a job. We have Air Force response in Riverside, San Bernardino, Palmdale, Lancaster. I don't know how fast their interceptors would have been, but we would have the same situation regarding New York. After 9/11, things got paranoid, but prior to that, We just didn't think. We just didn't know this could happen to us. I never came across news stories that people talked about on the air if it was potentially there for the homeland to get nailed like that. We always worried about nuclear missiles, and that scared the hell out of me, gave me nightmares and trauma for a long while. And this was a big monkey. This was a big monkey head. When I saw New York City getting nailed and the Pentagon getting hit, and then we heard about stories about 93 crashing in Pennsylvania, they were on their way to hit the Capitol. Either it was hit the White House or it was going to be hitting the Capitol building. You've seen on Google Maps what Washington, D.C. looks like, right? You know how it was concentric, compacted? I was terrified. I thought we were going to be next. I wigged. I'm hearing attack. We're under attack. We're going to get killed. Supervisor was trying to keep us calm, even though she was trying to stop from freaking out too, because she needed to get in control of the area. We had 30, 40, 50, 60-year-olds working, almost 70-year-olds in the call center. We had a variety of adults. We were all terrified. We watched what happened. And I was so damn afraid that the aircraft, if they really wanted to make a global attack, could they have attacked us? I didn't think of it at the time. It would have been possible. I kept thinking it was going to happen. If they already hit the trade towers, which was commercial, not governmental. Keep in mind when the World Trade Towers were created and built in the mid-70s, mid to late 70s in that area. This was supposed to be the financial crowning achievement of saying America's dominance. What particular thing could you think about that would be of a monument that spoke out for generations in biblical times? Tower of Babel, right? Not Egypt's golden city or whatever the hell it was. Tower of Babel. Babylon, or whatever was in that territory, were building this huge edifice. Throughout the centuries, they're fighting over this damn thing, rebuilding. Rebuilding this monster. Back then, it would have been an edifice. It would have been the World Trade Towers we're talking about in the significance, in its own significance. Eiffel Tower in Paris would have been a potential terrorist target. Surprisingly enough, when we actually had World War I and World War II, they didn't bother. I think in before World War II somewhere, it was built. I don't remember when it was built. Maybe in the late 1800s. But it was a monumental success. It was an achievement of France. It's still today. It's still today. For us in the West Coast, they're just commercial buildings. They're just maybe office buildings, maybe part of a hotel situation. We have nothing like that here that would scare the hell out of us a great deal. But I was afraid in our call center we were going to get nailed. Our call center, our department kept bouncing from floor to floor to floor every 8 to 12 months. So we didn't get used to our surroundings all that much. I mean, once we did, then we had to bounce again. Modular designs. But in the building we had, I thought we were going to be targeted. We were tall enough. Why not? Take a small Cessna or take a Learjet and whack us one. Why? Because. Because. The word because. We would have other areas that would get nailed, and it would scare the crap out of us if Warner Center got attacked. But they weren't in an area that they could have been. I mean, it would be tricky if they wanted to, just to create the terror in itself. It would have been terrifying also if we've had plane fires, we had plane crashes before, and they didn't scare the crap out of us all that much. We had train crashes happening. It didn't scare the crap out of us. We had never been attacked, Ed. We had never been terrorized. You know what it would have been terrifying enough is if we had our own little miniature terrorists, our little guys with attitudes. Maybe a lone jerk would go into a building to blow it up or shooting it. That's the only terror we've got right now is gun. What was it, years later? After 9/11, we actually had the Boston scare on that one. Boston Marathon turned into a bombing because we had two lunatic brothers. One to get shot and the other one to capture and still got him for life instead of death penalty. But they got him for life. Supermax. Yeah, they could have picked him over at Rikers, so it would have been fitting him fine. But that in itself, no one would have suspected Boston, Massachusetts would have been a terrorist attack. I kept thinking L.A. was next. I kept thinking about it too much. I kept thinking about what would cause us to really lose it out here. Besides having earthquakes every once in a while. I mean, small 4 or 5s, maybe. Nothing. Okay, we can get through those things. Psychologically, maybe not, but we can get through the 5s. Get through the 4 magnitudes. No problem. Bit of a swarm? Okay, fine. If we had a zipper effect geologically speaking, no. And Southland got ripped apart, that's one thing. You know, that's one thing. But the thing that scares the hell out of me more is human activity. And that's what drives us more into fear. I kept thinking, and I still think from time to time when I get into this particular mode, is where and when and what's going to be so damn vulnerable or innocent looking that we would have a terrorist attack to scare the crap out of people. They've got nothing. Amusement park? What are we going to do? Blow up Universal Studios or blow up Disneyland? At Disneyland in Anaheim, we have restricted airspace. Nobody flies aircraft, so not even drones over there without the PD sheriff's departments in the area going ape on that one. Even air traffic controllers would go ape on that one. But it's possible. Well, we don't have anything tall enough to scare the crap out of people. Besides, we have certain levels that building levels that we have to keep because we do have air traffic in the area. Every once in a while, I'll look at the Google Maps and I'll see what's happening. I'd take a look at the old pictures that they've got, but whatever they got posted for Google Maps, I look and I try to see whether or not if anything else is going to be a pain in the butt to us or not. We talk about fires. I start looking at the landscape, see what we've got happening here, because it still scares the hell out of me of having fires. That one should take more precedent instead of a terrorist attack, because there's only two things that causes fires for us out here: human stupidity, and then we got Mother Nature being pissed off at us. Lightning storms. Human stupidity doesn't. It's a far greater range on that one that we would have, and it would scare the crap out of us. It would. And it does. It does. I can see how our areas could be affected a great deal. We couldn't be attacked because we have air bases ready to go. I mean, these days they're paranoid. We haven't called out a full strike yet, but these guys would be on the ball with air traffic control radars. But it still scares me every time I'm watching 9/11. It's not the emergency rescue shows. No, it's anything regarding to documentaries. I'm seeing personal stories, hearing personal stories, watching the clips all over again of how an airplane, actually three airplanes, or four airplanes, changed the nature of everything that we have, and how it scares the hell out of me. I had to calm it down enough to think, okay, we haven't got anything out here to get attacked. Not a damn thing. We are theoretically fine. And the only thing that would actually keep the fight or flight response going is if I start seeing smoke in the area. If I happen to see it in a desert, in a neighborhood, that's the fight or flight right there. I've lived in California all my life. I had seen fires go on. I'd been surrounded by fires. And that would scare the hell out of me more and more. But the sudden, acute human action of terrorism. And that puts me on edge. The anniversary's coming up and I tried to ignore it like crazy. I don't know why I didn't this time. No, I do. Because my friend Paul Gifford, he had to say something about it. And that's what scared the hell out of me. Because it brought up the memories, it brought up everything else. My therapist next week is going to have a field day with me because we're going to be talking about this one. It's not enough time. So I'll send a video link over to her, and maybe, just maybe, she'll be able to understand what's going on, because I got the fight or flight going on right now. I got the taste of adrenaline trying to flow through the mouth right now. It's going to be hot as hell today. Well over 100. We're cooking. I hope the moving day was sufficient to your muscles. I haven't had that experience. I've had moving day experiences, residence to residence to residence, yeah, but not to a college, not to and from a college. I know what private transportation is, largely like public transportation, so that's okay with me. But living somewhere else just for college, nah, I'll do online. Screw it. If I'm going to go for the bigger ones, then transportation, 2 classes at a time. That way I can deal with it, despite the fact that administration will have a field day with me. But screw it, I got my own schedule. How am I feeling right now? Blithering idiot. Blithering idiot time. So I'm going to be ending this one, tagging it for you and tagging it for my therapist. And after this, I got to do another one. Why? Because I'm starting to verbally barf this up out of my system here, and I got to and be gross about it. It doesn't mean I'm going to be doing the biological crap. I'm just this stuff going on like crazy has to come out. I got to be a narrator. I got to tell my story. I may tell this to the public. That's my choice. And I'm still rattled. We'll talk. We'll talk. Maltus.